there. It's Saturday story time. And I want to thank those that responded to what color they were last week at the story. What color would you be? And it was really nice to hear and get to know your color and get to know you a little bit because of your color. So today I'm going to ask you to use your imagination again. This I'm going to read bits and pieces out of my journal, and it's nearing the end of the year, and so I'm going to end off at Christmas time. It's sort of hard to visualize Christmas in July, but let's see if we can do it. Okay, it starts out about the telephone. When we bought the place, Tom plugged a phone into his office and called it good. It was fine till we moved upstairs. Then, when the phone rang, it followed some law of nature like, what is up must come down. I was up. I had to run down the 14 steps to answer it, and I was doubly challenged to get down the stairs before the caller hung up and to catch my breath enough to say hello. To my surprise, last January, Tom installed a phone upstairs by our bed. What a pleasure to reach over and answer your call without trying to break a leg on some stair descending record. It was quite wonderful. When we got serious on the living room project up at the end of our building, we discovered we couldn't hear the phone at all up front in the shop. And Tom then hooked up the phones to the old original system used in the building when it was a machine shop. Because before we'd bought the building years before, it had been a machine shop. It had been other things also. Anyway, he installed what is called a klaxon type horn, type of an affair. Now when our phone rings, the whole neighborhood knows it. Neighbors even cheer me on when I make the 50-yard dash to the phone. Hurry, just a little faster. You're going to make it. And you've made it only in 5 rings. Great. You're getting really fast. Of course, after running initially 160 feet, I do have trouble talking. I'm sure some callers initially think they have got an obscene answer on the phone because of my heavy breathing. The phone hookup is right by the door, and when I run through the doorway, I try to get by the horn before it blasts in my ear. The dog is making a mad scramble to exit as I'm entering at breakneck speeds, so I don't always make it by the horn before it bellows the soundtrack to Seeing Stars. I not only answer the phone unable to talk, but also unable to hear. Huff, 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 hello, huff, huff, huh? I don't always breathe heavily. Sometimes I just break out in a giggle. And that's sort of embarrassing, especially if it's a serious phone conversation. But it's the price you pay. Okay. And then, since I last wrote, I have a new part-time job at the Bon Marché. And during this time, after my father found out he was sick, and I knew I really wanted to not do a third Christmas at the Hickory Farms, and now it seemed like the impossible thing to do. So after talking to my employer, and we all made the decision that I wouldn't do that, but I did find a part-time job close to home. And during this decision time over my job, we were also making decisions for my father's health care. After deliberating with 2 doctors and reading over the reports from the CAT scans taken of my father in April, and also from the most recent x-rays and blood tests, we decided not to do anything but to carry on as we've been doing. The reports indicate that they suspect lung cancer from asbestos exposure during World War II, which does not respond well to treatment. Also, it showed evidence of cancer on the right kidney, a cyst in the liver, abnormalities in the pancreas, etc., plus his original problem of the prostate cancer. My father and mother, and both Tom and I, felt his quality of life was the most important factor now, and both doctors agreed wholeheartedly. Actually, it turned out he never had prostate cancer at all. They found that out because they operated on his prostate and it was no cancer. But he did have these other cancers. And my father died at 84. He stopped smoking when he was 40. It was amazing to see the x-rays of the lungs and still see what smoking had done for when we looked at it 40 years later. Smoking never does you a favor. Okay, that's my soapbox comment there. Okay, then during that time, and in the summertime especially, lots of the family came. They came from California, back east, different places to see my father. And it was a good time. And you know what? I know how that feels now. When people come in, my Idaho friends, it was just cheered me up. And so I know how this was now for my father. And now it's come to the end of the year, and at the end of each Bon Marché business week in the cash office, we make out a report called the Cash Voucher Recap. It lets us know what kind of money we have spent and why. This will be my end of the year recap, a review of all the bits and pieces of our lives this past year. Well, I've sort of told you what they are, about my changes and so forth. But I also wrote a Christmas poem, so I'm going to read it to you. And no, it's not very good, but just think Christmas now. The Christmas season is on us again. Holly greens and bayberry reds, joys and dreads, glistening eyes, pumpkin pies, gifts and surprise, colored wrappings, tinsel trappings, golden rings, and cash registers dings. Children laugh and bicker, candles glow and flicker. Tired merchants, harassed buyer, plum puddings bake, falling snowflake, okay. All this for goodness sake, joyous carols sung, silver barrels rung, stockings carefully hung, smells of sage and cinnamon, God bless you and amen. All this to say, hark, gentle lass and man, it's time to send my holiday greetings and wish you a Merry Christmas. The end. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So, until next Saturday, have a good week.